Hey, everybody, and welcome to Mic Drop Monday with Dr. E. I am so excited to have you guys on tonight. Listen, you come on in. I'm so excited that you guys are here tonight. We're going to have an amazing segment tonight. We're really going to deal with some things that I believe is going to give us some help, some hope, and some healing. And I am so excited to have you all here, even as we've been celebrating and honoring those who have sacrificed for us on this Memorial Day, as we've taken the time to have some reflection. I have a son that's in the military currently serving in the Air Force, and just even thinking about what sacrifice really means and just really showing honor and reflection to what that means. And so I'm just excited that those of you all who have taken this time to kind of rest and relax are still joining me tonight. We're going to be, listen, y'all already know how I do when it's the mic drop. We're going to be dropping the mic tonight. So I'm so excited to have you all. Make sure that you guys are sharing. Thank you so much. Make sure that you guys are sharing. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited because I believe that tonight is going to be for those of us who have a lot going on. And somebody has told us, you can't do all of that. You got too much going on. You're good at this and you're good. Can I even be good at everything? Can I even do it all? Listen, it's for those of you all that have so much going on, and sometimes you get overwhelmed because you're so amazing and so good at stuff, and you just kind of feel like, listen, where's my support? As those of you all know, I'm in the this is the last part of my series, Where's My Support? And we have this saying that we can't stand about this jack of all trades and master of none, and there are some of us that we actually good at a bunch of things, right? Am I talking to anybody already tonight? And there are those of us that feel restricted and that feel conflicted because we're oftentimes told that we either have to do one thing or another thing. I'm praying for you even now. I send the winds of healing to you, Kevin, that you're having heart trouble. And so I even prophesy now that the turbulence that is beneath is being ceased even now. And so we thank you that the winds of recovery are blowing your way, and we seal that even now. All right. So listen, so those of you guys that are on and watching, I want you guys to make sure that you're sharing. Listen, I need you to share this with people who may be in ministry, who may be in the marketplace, who may be an entrepreneur, who may just be out there winging it and not winning in it. And because you just got a lot of stuff going on and you're just like, I cannot get myself to get, what is that? Where's my support? So I want you to get them on tonight, because I believe that we're going to give you some clarity, some confidence, some comprehension, so that you can move forward in your purpose. And so those of us who's always felt as though we just had to kind of pick and choose one things, when we know that we serve a God that is able to do exceeding abundantly. Come on, y'all know the scripture. And so a lot of the times we feel confined, and we feel like sometimes it's other people's fault. Like, people won't support me, and but sometimes, can I be honest, we show up socially and spiritually schizophrenic. I'm already dropping the mic. Sometimes we look like we have no idea what we're doing because we don't have clarity in our strategy. Man, can somebody type in the comments, I need clarity in my strategy? Because that's one of the things that keep us from being great. We don't have clarity in our strategy. And so a lot of the times we're waiting for the mercy and the goodness and the grace of God to show up in what it is that we're doing. But we know that the scripture says that he doesn't author confusion. And can I just be honest? A lot of the times we're operating in confusion. There is no clarity in our strategy. And so tonight we're really going to get in on what's going on the inside. Thank y'all. See, we got to tell the truth. Listen, let me make sure, because I know it's a lot of you guys that are watching for the first time for Mic Drop Monday. Welcome again. I'm Dr. Elisa LaShell Harney, the empowerment specialist. Y'all know me as Dr. E. And so I'm so grateful to have you guys on with me today. Here's the thing, and I talk about this all of the time, though, is I have this thing, and I always ask y'all, is it a he, is it a she, is it them, or is it me? Right? I always ask y'all to ask yourself that. Is it a he, is it a she, is it them, or is it me? Well, tonight we're going to deal with the me factor. Uh-oh, somebody should even type that in the comments. It's the me factor. Tonight, we're going to stop looking at the people who saying they won't support us. We're going to stop looking at the people who we think won't let us be great. I hope y'all are sharing. We're going to stop looking at the people who won't push us forward, and we're going to do internal inventory. Man, I'm dropping these mics faster than y'all are able to type them in the comments. We are going to do internal inventory, and we're going to figure out, look, it's the me factor. What is it that I'm doing? How can I better position myself so that I am able to be supported in what I do? And so we're going to deal with what I call the reality of restriction. We're going to deal with the reality of restriction. Sometimes there are things that are restricting us, that are keeping us confined, that are keeping us from not being able to operate in our greatness, that's keeping us from being able to operate in our potential. And let me just, before I even get started real good, let me go ahead and mess y'all up real quick, because I know we operate sometimes in this antiquated theology and this outdated mindset, but I just need to say this, and I said what I said, and you can type it in the comments. Everything ain't the devil. Yeah, I said it just like I said it. Because, see, we got to go ahead and break up this fallow ground before we get started tonight. Because, we like to say this. The enemy didn't want me to. No, that was the spirit of procrastination. Well, the devil just don't want me to. No, you're a perfectionist. Well, if it wasn't for that old enemy, the devil tried to know you lazy. See, sometimes we got to go ahead and get to the root of the matter. Come on, who am I talking to? I need some people who understand that I'm real, I'm raw, and I'm relevant. And see, everything ain't the devil. Y'all know what happened in the word of God when the sons of Sceva, the disciples came. They said, wait a minute, Paul, I know. Jesus, I know. Who are you? And sometimes we out here blaming stuff on him, and he's saying, who? You ain't even doing enough for me to be bothering with. I can't even get you to stay consistent in your purpose for me to start messing up what you got going on. And so a lot of the times we got the blame factor, and we're looking at everything and at everybody else, and we find something to blame because we don't know how to walk and operate in accountability. Uh-oh, man, this is pinching tonight. And so tonight we're really going to deal with who told you couldn't? Because sometimes that's an internal factor, and we're going to deal with the reality of restriction. Man, I hope y'all are ready tonight. Y'all know some people who seem like they're operating in the spirit of inertia. There's motion, but there is no movement. Listen, the reality of restriction. Get your people on tonight. Go ahead and share this in y'all's groups. Tag them. Even if you're watching the replay, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. A couple of rules before I bring my guest on and before we really delve into this tonight. Y'all know 3 things I ask you guys to do. Number 1, if I start dropping the mic, if my guest says something and it say mic drop, do me a favor and put that microphone emoji in, or just type in the words mic drop. If I say something and full well it's you, 3 words, because it gives us accountability, type in I see me. We just got to tell the truth and put ourselves out there, right? I built my platform off of the premise that you can't fix what you won't face. Last but not least, we're going to give you guys some information, some things that we really want you to take to heart. Feel free to type them into the comments, even so that you can read them later. I teach about the principle of repetition. And so sometimes when we write things down and we rehearse it, we will make it clear on the inside of us. And so tonight is going to be an amazing night as I close out my series. And you guys know I've been teaching about where's my support? And a lot of the times we don't feel supported, but we do internal inventory and we realize, wait a minute, that might have been them. You know what? That might have been me. And so tonight I'm so excited to welcome someone who I am very close to. I work very closely. No man is an island, and a lot of people won't be honest. They try to make you think, I believe that truth plus transparency equals transformation. And a lot of people try to make it seem like they're already great, by themselves, and they just do it because, that's what they do. But let me tell you something. I sent out a spiritual SOS. I needed some help, and God send me somebody. I am so grateful to have my project manager that's coming on. She's known as the Multipotential leader, and she's going to talk to us about what that means. And let me tell you something. You're going to see yourself tonight. Tonight, we're going to help you identify how you can tell if you're being restricted, if you're feeling restricted, if you have some internal things going on that are restricting you. And listen, we don't leave you right there. We're going to give you some tools so that you can get free. free. Man, Mic Drop Monday is about freedom. There's help, there's hope, and there is healing. So I want y'all to do me a favor, and I want you to help me welcome my very, very close friend and co-worker. I don't know what you want to call her. I call her the apostolic architect. She knows how to come in and put structure, strategy, and systems together to take me to the next level. So help me welcome my friend Maya Wilson. Hello, Maya.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I am great. How are you?
I'm great. Listen, before we get started, because we're going to be off the chain tonight, I want you to let us know. I know that you're known as the multi-potential leader, but can you kind of tell us what that means? Because that's a very fresh new phrase and it feels all, corporate-y. Tell us what that actually means and what you do.
Sure. So the term multi-potential leader comes from something called multipotentiality. I learned about this term, I believe it was around 2017. I was years into my corporate career. And when I learned about it, is for me, a light bulb came on. So the term, it stands for someone who has the ability and the preference to excel in multiple fields.
Woo, that's good.
Yes, my light bulb came on because in corporate, I started off as an engineer. So my background, my degrees are in engineering, started off as a network engineer with Cisco Systems. And about 2 years into that, I was like, I'm bored. I'm ready to do something else. And although I didn't transition right then, it took me about 2 more years before a manager gave me a chance. On paper, I was not qualified, but she had a role as a program manager. And she said, I'm willing to take you on. I just want to make sure that you don't want to be technical anymore. So I went through the interview process and she had someone grill me. She wanted to make sure that I was sure that I did not want to be technical anymore. So I got the job, got into the role, and I became a project manager. I went through the certification, I became certified, and of course, everything's going great. But again, about 2 years into it, I was like, okay, project management's great. Kind of want to do something else now. And fortunately, I had a manager approach me and he had a project management opportunity, but it was not something I had done. So my previous work was all internal. I was working with the employees, making sure that from the time that they started the interview process to the time they left the organization or Cisco, we tracked them. We had development. We just made sure that they had everything that they needed. This opportunity was an opportunity of a lifetime to be customer facing and to work the 2016 Democratic National Convention to deliver on behalf of Cisco. And so he came to me, he actually said, we have both conventions. We're going to do the Republican convention and the Democratic, whichever one you want to do, you let me know. So I picked the Democratic simply because President Obama was the president and I wanted to see whoever was the president at the time. So I picked the Democratic convention. I was the project manager. I had a team of about 14 engineers. We turned the city of Philadelphia into a mini smart city in order to host the convention. So if you watch the conventions, if you were at the conventions, me, my team, we were running around in the background. And oh, by the way, I was pregnant during the last convention. So I'm there, I'm pregnant, I'm running around. I learn about this term and I'm like, oh my goodness, it makes sense. I get bored easily, I get bored quickly. Once I've maxed something, I'm ready to do something else. So like I said, the light bulb came on, and that's why I was like, I'm just going to term myself the multi-potential leader. That way, if today I'm talking about Jesus and tomorrow I want to make sandwiches and the next day I want to do my hair, everybody understands because that's who I am.
So that's amazing. And I wanted you to get that in before we really delve into this, because I think a lot of times people don't understand. And a lot of times we've been told that we can just do one thing, be great at one thing. They say be great, but what they're really meaning is, here you go. Here's this little one thing, is cut and dry. You do this. And I believe that I'm talking, and y'all put it in the comments. If you're one of those people who you have a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, whether it's in church, whether it's in corporate, whether it's, just in your personality, you're just like, I can do a lot of things, and not just You can do a lot of things, but you can do a lot of things well. And I remember this came up because we were having this conversation about there's not a lot of support for people who's able to do a lot of things well. Man, I need y'all to keep sharing, because I believe that this is a frustration among those of us who are very good at certain things. And so we find ourselves being all over the place. And so I'm just so grateful to be working with somebody. Yeah, see, you're not crazy, man. Y'all see, I need y'all to share, because this thing, we're about to show what happens when you try to lock yourself into one thing and you're really not able to develop and really not able to progress and really not able to maximize. And so people like me need people like Maya, and there are some of y'all need people like Maya, who, when I come into something and I'm saying I have all this going on, and they're like, whoa, one thing at a time, just focus on this. And I'm like, no, I just want to put this out there, and then I'm on to something else. I think it's amazing for somebody to come in and whose mind is able to just work around that and say, okay, this is how we manage. See, listen, look at everybody. Look at all these candidates that need somebody like Maya. So this is what happens with us, is we get out there. And I love the fact that this phrase is catching on. I'm a multi-potential leader. Oh yeah, listen, I don't have just one thing. And so I think tonight the eyes of your understanding are going to be enlightened, and you're not going to feel as though you have to sacrifice one for another. However, you already know it's going to be a however in that. However, there are some things you got to do. Y'all know I believe in discipline. And a lot of the times we want to be great at everything, but there are some underlying factors and some underlying principles of progression that we're going to deal with tonight. I believe that this is going to help you guys really stop feeling overwhelmed so you can get into your overflow. Man, can I say that again? This is going to help you stop feeling overwhelmed so you can get into your overflow. Man, somebody should type in, I want to go from overwhelmed to overflow. Listen, I'm helping already. I want to go from overwhelmed to overflow. Listen, if you know somebody that feels overwhelmed in their job, overwhelmed in their ministry, overwhelmed, listen, I'm trying to go from overwhelmed to overflow. So let's deal with something, and we're going to hear back and forth from Maya, because this is going to help us. Restriction. I'm calling this the reality of restriction. And restriction is it's defined as a limiting condition, a limited measure, a limitation of somebody or a limitation of something. When you just feel like you can't go past where somebody has you confined. Sometimes it's self-imposed. And when we operate in our purpose, we tend to operate in the law of limitations. Man, somebody got to say this. I no longer want to operate in the law of limitations. Believe it or not, and this is a mic drop, internal limitation manifests as external stagnation. I need to say this again. Internal limitation manifests as external stagnation. Maya, have you ever seen that internal limitations, how it manifests? What does that look like when there is an internal limitation, but it manifests as an external stagnation?
Sure, I've seen it several and plenty of times, because of course, as a leader, and I truly believe that everybody is a leader. And one of the things that I learned in my coaching training is everyone is a leader either by choice or by default. And the people that say that you can't lead by default, you can think about the people who you would say are lazy or procrastinators, or even a boss, a manager, someone that you really don't like. When they come into your presence, as you say, your atmosphere, when they come into your presence, you feel a certain type of way. So they've led you into that feeling.
That's
so people
good.
lead by default because they're not even being aware or even intentional about how they're leading. So definitely some of the internal things that you can manifest is really just the self-doubt, the victim mentality, just looking at everything from an I perspective, and really just manifesting that everywhere. So if you know someone that constantly uses the I language, I can't get ahead, and again, it leads you into a state of, I really don't want to deal with this person. That person is manifesting some of the internal things that are going on. They are taking on a victim mentality. Another one is someone who has the fighter mentality, and everything is a struggle, is a fight. I'm here to outdo everyone. And this shows up in every area of life. So if you have this mentality, you think that it's not enough money in the world. So I have to go get it all, and I'm not giving it away. No, I don't care about anybody else. I'm going to fight for what I believe is mine. It also shows up in your purpose, because sometimes you can fight against God because you know what your purpose is, but you don't want to fulfill it. So you
Come on.
become a fighter. So those are just two of the things that actually show up sometimes when you have these internal things going on, but you're manifesting them on the outside.
Man, this is good. Are y'all sharing? Because we are helping. See, we know people like this. I told y'all, is it a he? Is it a she? Is it them? Or is it me? And sometimes, and I'm always talking about atmosphere awareness. Maya says something powerful that we think they're not leading, but they're leading us somewhere. If they leave, I always tell y'all to do an atmosphere awareness. If somebody leaves your presence, they leave your atmosphere and they leave something, they just led you. I don't know why every time I talk to them, I feel anxious. They just led you into anxiety. I don't know why every time I go away from them, I feel defeated. They just led you into defeat. Man, who am I helping? And so here's the things. A lot of the times things are limiting us. We're talking about the reality of restriction. Things are limiting us. And I want to tell you some things, even when we look about it psychologically and spiritually, this is going to help y'all. Hear me when I talk about these limiting belief systems. Hear this. Unbelief is a limiter. Y'all should be typing this because it's going to bless somebody. Fear is a limiter. Man, you hear it? Doubt is a limiter. Watch this. Confusion is a limiter. If you think about them, they all have to do with a lack of faith. Come on now, because if we're talking about limitations, we're talking about who said you couldn't. What's the reality of restriction? Well, the reality of restriction is that I'm allowing something to limit me. How do I know that that's not the will of God? Well, Ephesians 3:20, we quote it all the time. Now unto him that's able to do exceeding abundantly above all I can ask, think, or imagine. But y'all forgot there was a B clause. Y'all forgot that there was something you had to do. It said, according to the power that's working in you. Listen, if you're operating in fear, that's a little power. If you're operating in doubt, that's a little power. If you're operating in unbelief, it's a little power. And so we don't understand that we can be facilitating we can be facilitating restriction in our life. We say things like Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ that strengthen me. So can I just drop the mic? Then stop saying you can't when the truth is that you won't. Listen, I almost threw my own mic down. Let me say this again, because y'all didn't think that these mic drops had biblical reference. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ that strengthened me. So I'm going to help you tonight. Stop saying you can't when the truth is that you won't. I can't do that. No, you won't do this. I can't make it. I can't handle all that. No, you won't. I just can't seem to get along. No, you won't, because we can. Man, if you can't say amen, I'll take an ouch. We can, because the power is operating. The last scripture I'm going to say, and listen, we're going to do some I see me moments. The last scripture we deal with is 2 Corinthians 2:14. It's one of my favorite scriptures, but it says, but thanks be to God who always causes us to triumph. If he always causes us to triumph, then where are the restrictions? Who said you couldn't? And so, Maya, here's what I want to deal with. And I want you to talk about how this manifests. Man, are we helping already tonight? Here's why I want to deal with this. And I need you to get your leaders. Listen, I love the people that are on. Yeah, that's right, Isabel. We just got to say ouch. Because a lot of the times nobody will meet us. I have one of my mentees is always telling me, she says, I feel confronted. And I said, good, because I'm confronting you. Right. And I always tell y'all, we can't fix what we won't face. And so Mic Drop Monday is about getting in front of our limitations, getting in front of the things that are restricting us, getting in front of the things that are keeping us from operating in our power. But a lot of the times what happens is we don't see ourselves. And Maya, I want you to tell us what this looks like, because I want to give you guys 10 indications that you really feel restricted. Restricted is another word for trapped. We're dealing with the reality of restriction. Number one of the indications that you feel restricted, you feel trapped, is you don't like what you do. You don't like your job. You don't like your business. You don't like having to cook. You don't like having to clean. Listen, whatever it is that you're doing, I don't like it. because it may not be what it is that you're doing that you don't like. It's something that is feeling restrictive, something that is. And so, Maya, when you don't, what does it look like? What does a person sound or look like when they don't like their job, when they don't like what it is that they're doing? How does that show up?
Sure. I think the classic case is the anger and the frustration. And the funny thing is, it's always misplaced. So I was actually speaking at a retreat, and it was interesting because several of the people there were actually previous coworkers from Cisco, and they're on their tablets and, of course, just working away, doing what they need to do. Now, of course, they're supposed to be on PTO, which is paid time off, which everyone probably understands. Most time we say paid time off is considered part time off. So they're working on their tablets, they're just going, and the frustration, the anger, and all of this. And I'm like, hey, the reality probably is you don't want a job, because several of them were entrepreneurs, and several of them actually had multiple businesses, and they would say to me, hey, it's amazing that you were able to leave corporate. This is amazing, that's amazing, I wish I could do that, all this stuff. But I'm like, technically you could. I left corporate with no income and no clients. You can do it. It's just, would you be willing to do it? Are you willing to sacrifice to do it? But now you have a situation where things are going on because you don't want to answer that email, because you don't want to be on that phone call. Now you're angry, now you're frustrated. And it seems as if, oh, my boss this and my manager that, they know I'm on part-time, paid time off. They know I'm on paid time off, all this other kind of stuff. But the reality is you just don't want a job.
Whew, that's good. So listen, another way that you can tell if you're feeling restricted, if you're feeling conflicted about something, is if you're withdrawn. Now listen, this is going to snatch some of y'all. If you're withdrawn, that means that you're operating in this place of isolation. And you're saying things like, I just don't like fooling with a lot of people, or I just don't want a lot. I just can't really work in a group. You're withdrawn. You're withdrawn emotionally. You're withdrawn. People trying to talk to you and you just don't have anything to say. They trying to go to lunch. Do you want to go? And so talk about, Maya, how that's showing up when because we're dealing with the reality of restriction. And so sometimes we get in a place where we feel restricted because we have all of this multipotentiality on the inside of us. So talk about, what does that look like? You're withdrawn.
Certainly. And I think the key to bring up here is the fact that it shows up differently for different people. So yes, we know that there's the introverts, the extroverts, and even the ambiverts. And we know that sometimes people just don't like people, like they like being isolated. So those kind of cases is very interesting because sometimes you can get them misconstrued or misconstrued. However, in this situation, it actually shows up like that because, again, the thought process is still in that victim mentality. Because I don't like the situation, because I don't like the limitation, I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with the situation. I'm not going to deal with the people. I'm just not going to deal with it. And the best way to do that is to isolate. That way I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to answer questions about it. I don't even have to see the people that are involved with the situation. So it shows up as that, and the person is really just taking all of that on, especially if they are an analytical, especially if they are that person that is stuck in that victim mentality. Again, it's going to be the internal processing of, well, they this, they that, I'm just going to stay this way. And it's just going to keep appearing, keep showing up, but it's stuck in that cycle of just the victim mentality because, again, it's all about self. We were never made to be isolated. We were made for connection and community. So when you abandon that, or when you choose to say, I don't want to be in community, you're really doing it to your own detriment.
Come on. And that leads us right, man, is this good tonight? That leads me right to number 3. When it shows up, the reality of restriction shows up when you don't have a support system. Now, I'm not talking about people won't support you. I'm talking about you don't have a support system. Well, and and it sounds like this. Well, I didn't want to call you because I knew you were busy. Did you text me to see? Did you see if there was a space? Well, I didn't want to fool with you because I know y'all don't like, I just did it myself because I know, I didn't want to bother anybody with, I know y'all have your own issues and stuff going on. You don't have a support system. See, I told you, we got to tell the truth. Is it a he, is it a she, is it them, or is it me? Maya, what is that stemming from, that not having a support system? And we're answering for people and going ahead and positioning things to our detriment. What is it? Where is that stemming from?
It's another funny one, and I'm laughing because again, it goes back to the victim mentality. Is everything in the victim mentality is about I, me, self. They're busy, and you don't even know that. That's an assumption because in your head, you're saying that they're busy. I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to assume, which we know that that's the lowest level of communication is when you assume, but it's still stuck in that victim mentality of, I'm just going to be self. And when I do talk to people, and here's another classic thing, which you may get into, but it just came up, so I'm going to go ahead and drop it. A classic victim mentality is someone who always wants you to know what is going on, especially stuff that is wrong.
Wow.
When you ask them, well, how are you doing? And, oh, well, yeah, this pain and that pain. And we most of the time know that a lot of people say, how are you doing, is meant to be rhetorical, but the people who are stuck in that victim mentality, everything is always a problem, a struggle. This is what's going on. This is what happened to my dog, my cat, my fish, my job. Everything is always I, me. And if it is a conversation about other people, it's what they don't do for you, or what they won't do for you.
And you know what that also looks like? That also looks like keeping score. The Bible tells us when we deal with 1 Corinthians 13 that love keeps no record of wrong. And so somebody who is always, and I'm going to just listen because I feel the anointing and we got to bust stuff out because the enemy don't want us to be free. But if you always screenshotting everything somebody texts you just so you can bring it back up later to say, see right here, April 14, 2008, they said this. And when they said I can call them anytime, then when I called them on November 14, 2019, they wasn't available. But they said right here, and I know they said it, that type of thing, that type of behavior, you're keeping track. And when somebody asks you something, you can go all the way down and be like, well, let me tell you what happened the last time when I said that. And I remember this time, and you might not want to listen. What is that? What is it that you're proving? Why is it when it shows up, even if it's you? I told you this is internal inventory. And it's funny that at the end of 1 Corinthians 13, he's talking about love. But can I tell you what he ends that scripture with? He says, but let me just flip for a minute, because when I was a child, I spoke like a child. I acted like a child. I behaved like a child. I kept record of everybody who was mistreating me. I throw temper tantrums when things wouldn't go my way. I decided to act like a victim when folks wouldn't operate the way I wanted them to operate. But the word of the Lord says, but when I grew up, I became a man, I put those things away. Can I put it like this? And this is just Dr. E's version. You can't sign checks with crayons. Man, somebody ought to drop the whole mic. Can I just put it like the way that I feel it? You can't sign checks with crayons. See, we want to walk around and we want to deposit into heaven's bank some things, and we want to see overflow, and we want to see manifestation and entrepreneurship, and in our ministry, and in our money, and in our mindset. But listen, what you're withdrawing with, you can't sign checks with crayons. And so when you're out there operating in these places where you refuse to move past, you're operating in these places where you refuse to get healed from, you're operating in these places where you refuse to grow up from, then you're trying to cash something in, and the bank is saying, no, baby, I can't cash that. That's, you signed that with a crayon. I'm going to need you to grow up so you can go up. Who am I helping? I said, I'm going to need you to grow up so you can go up. And so a lot of times the reality of restriction is that what we want to do when we see people, and Maya, you've probably seen this too, when we see people, and I've been a victim of this myself. I've seen it where every time I start to progress in things, sometimes you can outgrow, and y'all have to tell the truth if you've seen it. You start outgrowing certain things and you mature past certain things. And every time you get to a certain level, it looks like somebody wants to pull you back. They try to do something that they knew used to aggravate you, or something used to draw you back in before you matured, before you grew up, before you got past it. Every now and again, whatever word, all of a sudden, here's the text, here's here's the call, here's the email, here's the something, here's the emergency. And so what happens is, I told y'all, I've been telling y'all this, that been following me, we stop using lower level limiting language, right? And we start speaking a different, we communicate different. We're trying to help y'all now. This is the reality of restriction, and we change our language. But certain people, they understand. I put this post up a couple of days ago, and I said, it's not that what you're saying is strange, it's just that they can't hear at that level. Man, I'm throwing these mics y'all way tonight. It's not that what you're saying is strange. They can't hear at that level. So what they will do is they will try to draw you back down to the level in which they're familiar. They'll try to draw you back in to the debate where you acting like a child and you are responding and you're reacting instead of responding. Maya, what is that showing up as when somebody sees you elevating and they see you progressing and they see you trying to take it to the next level? And oh, here they come with that thing to try to move you back on into that thing. What is that?
Yeah, so that shows up actually as the fighting mentality. And I'm saying mentality or the mindset because a lot of leadership, and whether you're leading a business, a team, or organization, whatever you're doing, it's all leadership. So that really speaks to the leadership mindset of being a fighter. And really, I talked a lot about the victim, but I guess it goes to say that the victim, when you're in that mindset, everything is about I lose. So whether it be you're losing to God, whether you're losing to other people, you always lose. Now the fighter is I'm winning at all costs. So when you talked about keeping score, really they're keeping score because they know I can use this later on. I'm gonna win with this piece of information. So it's holding on to things because, oh, whenever I need this, and of course, you can see how the victim mentality comes in. They feel as if there's always gonna be a situation where they're gonna have to win. So I don't wanna feel like a loser. I'm beyond feeling like a loser, so I'm ready to fight to win. So I'm gonna keep score, and if you try to make me feel like I'm losing, I'm gonna one up. I'm gonna bring up whatever text. I'm gonna bring up whatever so that I can win.
Come on. See, these are things, this is restriction. I'm talking about internal inventory and atmosphere awareness so that we can find out why is it, who told you couldn't? What is that mindset? What is that mentality? Because there's somewhere, and y'all know I teach this all of the time, that dysfunction distorts discernment. And so a lot of the times we can't recognize even when we're operating in restriction, and we don't even understand and recognize when somebody else is operating in it. One of the other ways that you can tell that you're operating in restriction is if you're restless. Is if it's just I do this and then but it ain't enough. I'm not talking about you're bored. I'm talking about it's just not enough. I need to just be, you don't even know how to sit in it. You don't even know how to operate in it. You don't even know how to cultivate it. You don't even know how to master it. One thing me and Maya were talking about earlier today, and we were just saying, I don't just try to come in. One of the things that we are intentional about doing is I'm not trying to do everything. I'm just trying to do my thing. And the thing that I am called to do, I'm gonna master that. But when you restless, I just did enough to get some attention, on to the next one. You haven't even cultivated what you have. You haven't even maxed out what you have. And then the other thing, I'm gonna do two at one time, and then you lie about your life. Man, this might hurt, but it's going to help. You just lying about your life on social media or in person. You acting like you have something going on and you don't. You posting about, and I have this going on and this is going on. But where is the fruit? Where is the evidence? And I just finished doing this. And what is showing up, Maya, in us? Because we're operating in the law of restriction. What is that that's coming out of us when we're restless or when we're lying about what's really going on in our life?
Again, that's the fighter. And like I said, everything shows up differently for different people, because naturally when people think about the fighter, they think of, naturally fist fight, ready to fight. But that's a different type of fighting because I'm going to give the illusion that I'm winning. So again, it goes back to I'm winning. Now, whether I'm winning in reality or winning in fantasy land, I'm going to put up the illustration that I'm winning at all costs, because again, you want to avoid the loser feeling. So, so even if I have to, like they say, fake it till I make it, I'm going to fight for it. And that type of fighting, it may not be as aggressive, it may not be as confrontational, but it's still the illusion that I'm winning.
Yep. So here are two more. How do you know you're operating in the law of restriction? You're depressed. And this is more than just a situational issue. This is more than just saying I'm not happy about something that's going on. This is just, it's something that you wake up and you kind of put it on. You take it on as a character, as a personality trait. I'm not going to feel good. This is not going to turn out right. This is just not going to happen for me. And then the number seven, that was number six, and number seven is, because this will slip in on you, you have some type of secret behavior that's a form of escape. So sometimes it's substance abuse. Sometimes it's over medicating, self-medicating. Sometimes it shows up in sexual things, secrets. Sometimes it shows up in overcompensating, but there is some type of abuse problem that's a form of escape. And these two things, they show up in us because it's a reality of restriction. The reason why there's a mindset, and what is that mindset, Maya, that makes you think that you have to that makes you feel so overwhelmed to where you are depressed, or that you start self-medicating, or you start doing something else to escape, to go, you go through the motions. You're doing something to you're getting high, you're doing something to you just all day long. Sometimes your escape is, I'm just watching reality TV, and it doesn't have any substance, and I already know what's going to happen the next 5 minutes, but I just got to cultivate something, because the truth is I'm really not operating at my optimal level. What is that? How is that manifesting?
Sure. So that goes back to the victim mindset again. And I do want to say this because I just feel led that a lot of what we're talking about, some of it can be inner healing and deliverance. And Dr. E and I talk all the time. So, when I talk about great at everything, if I'm going to bring it in the leadership, if I'm going to bring it in business, I'm going to bring it in spiritual realm as well. So I just want to state that, because definitely a lot of these things can be inner healing and deliverance issues. But when it's just that actual mindset, it goes back to that victim, because in the victim kind of mindset, a lot of people feel like they do not have a purpose. So that's when depression sets in, because again, I said that your mindset can show up with regards to anything. So sometimes you might say, well, okay, God, I don't have a purpose. Or somebody said something to you, so now you feel like, well, I don't have a purpose. That leads to depression, and actually even for suicide. Like a lot of people that I've known personally that have suffered and say that they want to commit suicide, they say, I don't have a purpose. I don't know what the purpose is. I don't know why I'm here. I don't have a purpose. And to me, that goes straight to that victim mindset, because you feel like you've lost. And I have to tell people, every day that you're living, you have a purpose. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So definitely that goes to that victim mindset, because it's, again, I've lost. I don't have a purpose. I don't serve a purpose. I'm taking up space. I'm depressed. I might as well just be out of it. So definitely
so that's good. That's so good. And y'all know that some of the same things that happen, we understand that we operate in a duality. And so the things that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but sometimes there are things that are powers and principalities. And when those things we understand that the word of the Lord tells us to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And so that's why we're dealing with the mindset, because we want to see transformation in our purpose. But we're going to deal with these last three. Number 8 is, it shows up, restriction shows up when you can't say no. Man, y'all better hear this. And y'all know I've always taught on this. When you just can't say no. I just said, stop saying you can't, when the truth is that you won't. But I can't say no. Everybody's asking you. You don't have the time. You don't have the resources. I told y'all that you're walking around with an S on your chest, and the S does not stand for Superman and Superwoman. It stands for sit down, sir. It stands for stop it, sis. And we walking around trying to be everybody's hero. We don't have enough income to take care of what we need, but here we go, giving it out. We don't have enough time in the day to do what we need to do, but here we go, and we're prostituting our purpose, and we're renting out our resources, and we're putting our call on clearance, and we're just out there not able to say no, and it shows up as a restriction in our own lives. And so what is the core of that, Maya? Where do you see that coming from?
Sure. That's when you have a mindset of being a helper. So a helper is someone who is always saying yes, always available, always there. And naturally, all of these mindsets actually have a balance. So they're all going to be useful to you. It's appropriate to take on the victim mindset sometimes. If somebody has stolen something from you, or that, like, you're supposed to be in a victim mindset. So that's the important thing to remember. I love those two scriptures that you shared, because I always say all transformation starts in the mind. So if you can at least recognize the thought, like, okay, I'm playing victim. Do I really need to be playing victim, or do I need to do a self-analysis? So definitely that one. But the helper, yes, that person is always going to say yes, always available, always answering the phone, always responding to text, because that is the mindset. And the key thing, I'll go back to purpose, because I know you're big on purpose. But at the helper mindset, you know that you have a purpose, but you don't quite know or don't quite understand what it is. So you're more prone to be the helper, because this might help me understand my purpose. This person may help me understand purpose. Doing this task may help me and lead me to my purpose. So a lot of that is driven, again, just trying to find that purpose. So naturally, everything's a yes, because you feel like it's going to eventually lead into purpose. However, the flip side of the helper, if you do not watch it, if you are not cautious, it triggers the victim mindset, because all of a sudden you get to a point and it's, well, I've helped everybody, I've done everything, I've done. Where's my help? Where's my support? So it triggers that victim mindset.
And y'all see how that flips real quick, because and it sounds like this when everybody talk to you and you're just saying, I can't believe I did that for them. All that stuff I did for them, all that I helped them do, I helped them build, and they didn't even say thank you. And they didn't even, and I heard them over there bragging about somebody else. And then here you go, keeping score. Because listen, yesterday I went to the store for them, and then last week they asked me for $10 and I gave it to them. They didn't say nothing about them. But I noticed when I was stalking their social media page, I saw they gave such and such a shout out, but they didn't say anything about, you see how all of a sudden first it was the helper, and then it was there was no balance, and all of a sudden it flipped just that quick, victim. I hope we helping y'all tonight, because this is why we don't feel supported. This is why we feel like sometimes, why are we running around? Why are we feeling restricted? Some of that is because either we get in a place, or we're connected to people in our atmosphere that's in a place and they're facilitating this. Listen, two more, but I'm gonna take a station identification real quick. Two things I want to tell y'all, because we about to drop the mic, and then we're gonna give y'all this, and we're gonna show y'all how to shift, because I believe that this is going to help. One of the things that we're offering, and I'm saying we, it's me, but Maya is going to come in as well this month, because a lot of the times we always say that we don't have any help, but I want you all to know that something is available for you all. I'm calling it From Overwhelm to Overflow, and this is a masterclass, how to unlock the marketplace within your ministry. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because a lot of us feel like we don't have help, and I'm putting the link up, because I want y'all to sign up for this masterclass, especially those of you all that came out of a deep church background, because y'all the ones, let me be honest, that I got to work with the most about dealing with this mindset about, I'm not supposed to prosper, and I'm not supposed to, how much of this is supposed to be, what's free, and what am I supposed to, I know I have purpose. I know I should be doing something. I know that it's God's will that we prosper and be in health. I know that the blessings of the Lord make rich and addeth no sorrow. Listen, can I tell y'all need to get in on this. And I'm going to, if you get in on this, register for this marketplace, this how to unlock the marketplace within your ministry, we're going to throw in as a bonus my Broke Ain't Biblical 2-part series. And when I tell you it's going to help you understand what you're meant, how you're meant to prosper. I put a post up the other day. Listen, you can pray and still profit. You can minister and still make money. You can worship and still charge your worth. And so a lot of the times we broke, but broke ain't biblical. Y'all know I started hashtagging that about a year and a half ago. Broke ain't biblical. It is God's will. And a lot of the times we're not operating in our purpose, because we're just out there saying, I just want to love the Lord and love people. And he's saying, I don't want you broke. And so from overwhelmed to overflow, I want you guys, and as a bonus, I'm keeping putting putting in these bonuses. If you enter the word purpose when you check out, it's going to give you 15% off of your registration. We need to see y'all in this building. We talk about we don't have no support, but listen, we're putting some things out there because we want to make sure that you guys get together. And because Maya works with me, the other thing I'm going to show y'all, and then we're gonna give y'all something that's going to bless you guys, is we have this new mentorship. It's called the Empower Mentee Initiative. For those of you all, especially those of you all that are multi-potential leaders, we have a membership mentorship. Maya's going to be coming in and teaching. I have some other experts that's going to be coming in. This mentorship, we just decided to add, it's going to be entrepreneurship development. So if you are an entrepreneur and you want to develop we're going to give you tools and strategies. If you need personal development, if you know you're dealing with the victim mentality, if you know that you're dealing with guilt, if you know that somebody stole your voice and stole your sound, if you know that it's been a while that people make you feel some kind of way from prospering, if you know you have all these going on, listen, this mentorship is going to put it all out there. And then we're going to do personal development, and we're going to do spiritual development as well. So we're going to come in and I'm going to teach on the prophetic. Those of you all that know me, I am a prophet and I do teach on the prophetic. I just did a 5-day training with Apostle John Eckhart. So I'm going to be doing teachings on the prophetic inside of this group. If you want to join a community that will cultivate some healing, some help, some hope in your entrepreneurship, in your spiritual life, and in your personal life, can I tell you, you need to be a part of this mentorship. We're going to be teaching and training and building community, and we're going to be breaking you guys out of that little island of being by yourself. We're going to be dealing with that victim mentality, and we're going to show you how to win, and you're going to have some support. I'm coming in live teaching during this. I'm going to have special guests. You're going to literally have things that are going to cultivate this. And so I want to make sure that you guys are in it to win it. I want to make sure that you guys are getting what you need. You're not going to be able to say, we're not offering y'all nothing. And at the end, I'm going to give y'all Maya's link because I want y'all to connect. There are so many of you all that need what it is that she has. So make sure that you guys are joining. Now, listen, these last two that we're going to tackle tonight, that is going to help us identify why is it that we're not operating we're operating in restriction, is you have low self-esteem and you have commitment issues. Low self-esteem and commitment issues. So Maya, talk about how that manifests. How do we see that in this law of restriction and we're not able to really operate in our purpose? What does that look like? How does that show up?
Sure. So I think because we've already talked about a little bit, well, we didn't address low self-esteem, but of course that kind of goes to the victim mindset. But the commitment issues, I'll say this. Here's another multi-potential piece of commitment. So sometimes the commitment is just that, like it is rooted in the low self-esteem, is rooted in the depression, is rooted in I'm not worthy, is rooted in all of that. But another side of that is you simply don't have the support to be committed. Like, again, if you're that helper person, or even some of the other mindsets, if you just really do not have the strategy, the tools, the systems to stay committed, it's going to show up. And I'll make fun of myself. Looking, as Dr. E says, sometimes socially schizophrenic on social media. So before I met her, definitely, I could not commit because in my head, when it came to entrepreneurship, there was not anybody that would embrace me and say, okay, yeah, you can do everything. And it was always pick one. But I think as many of you understand and you realize I can't pick one. I knew that I was called to help people birth multiples. And no one ever says to a pregnant woman, okay, well, you're pregnant with twins, you're pregnant with triplets, but you got to pick one.
Pick one. That's
good.
Birth
one, and that's it. And the same thing happens in entrepreneurship, or at least now we're here to say that you can have the support, you can have the tools, you can have the strategy to birth multiple things and still be able to commit, to stay consistent and have the people that support you in order to do that.
One of the things I like that you say, Maya, and you did this in one of your audio trainings, you said that there is this, you have to understand the purpose of delegation. And you were talking about four categories. And just to kind of skim through that real quick before we go, you were saying task you don't really need to do for it to be effective. Delegating that by hiring an assistant. Why is that such an important part of us being great at everything? If we want to be great at everything, those tasks that you don't really need to do for it to be effective, give me a quick example about what that is.
Sure. So and again, the key part of that is anything that you don't need to do to be effective. Yes, many of us, we do a lot of things very, very well. And I've said this before, but I'll say it here. So there's something called your zone of genius and your zone of excellence. Now,
hold on, Maya. I need y'all to type that. You have your zone of genius and your zone of excellence. Come on, break that down.
So, your zone of excellence is, again, it's all the stuff that you can do well. I'm pretty sure if you're a parent, you strive to be excellent as a parent. I'm pretty sure if you have a job, you strive to be excellent in your job. But if you have something that's in your zone of genius, it's something that you do with excellence and you love it. I've told Dr. E this all the time. I am gifted to write. I've helped people write books, all that. I don't love writing. I would much rather talk. I would much rather transcribe, but that is a gift. So I do it because I understand that it is a gift. However, talking, coming on live, that's my zone of genius. So the writing for me is the excellence, but talking, having interaction with people, engagement, that's my zone of genius. So that's how you differentiate.
That's
excellence
good.
Is you can do it well, you can do it effectively, you're good at it, but the genius is you can do it with excellence and you love it. Like you could do it forever.
That's good. So the second thing you said, tasks that are not your expertise or your interest, you need to hire an expert. If you know that this is not your expertise, and here you are trying to Google it, here you are trying to YouTube it, when you could just simply say, you know what, if I want to be great at it, let me outsource this. Let me, it's not that I can't do it. It's just that, and I use me for an example. Those of you guys that follow me saw that I just finally, came together to put my team together. I had to be operating in an optimal level as a leader to say, I don't have to do it all. The things that I don't really need to do to be effective, the things that are not my expertise. One of the things you said that things that are your expertise, but you're bored with them, or you want to do something else, and then things that require you to be involved right now, but you don't have to be involved with it later. I had to say that, yes, I am a graphic designer. Yes, I am a content curator. Yes, I can do all of it, but guess what? I could be great, even greater, if I understood that there are people who can do it well. They don't have to stay up at the wee hours of the morning trying to figure it out. Let me just get them to do it so that I can be great at everything. And so I think that's one of the things that we are trying to say to those of you all that are watching, and I hope this has blessed you all, that you can be great at everything, but you have to understand the law of limitations. You have to understand if you're putting limitations on who you are and what you're doing, and then you have to understand that there are some things that you could give to other people that create unlimited flow for you, because you're not operating in this mentality, this victim mentality, or operating in this limitation of who you're supposed to be or how you can show up. So before I let you guys go, and this has been amazing, I hope you guys have really enjoyed Maya. I'm putting up Maya's link, and Maya has some amazing programs. One of her programs is called Great at Everything, and that's Maya's mailing list. She has several programs that are phenomenal. Of course, I've seen them firsthand. I'm a product of some of them. And, besides being a project manager, when I say if you are operating in business, if you are at the point where you have a lot of things going on, but they're not effective, listen, Maya can help you be great at everything. And, there was an old song that says, I'm good all by myself, but we are forced when we together, right? And so I appreciate being even more effective. Some of the reasons why why, and I don't have to try to take all the credit. Some of the reasons why I've been able to be even more effective is because Maya, she knows she knows her strengths and weaknesses as well as mine, and we're gifted. And I know when to pull her in when she operates in genius and back and forth. And so, having her as a project manager, and that's just the iceberg of what she does for me. But I would not, and y'all know I don't just endorse anybody, and I don't have just anybody on my platform, but I can personally say that she allows the greatness in me to operate in excellence and to operate at the genius level, and I appreciate it. So you guys, it's the link there is for you guys to join her email list. She's going to send you guys information to show you how to get to her and show you what she has going on. She's also going to be she's going to be presenting as well when I do. If you didn't sign up, if you haven't already, y'all need to make sure that you're coming up for this overwhelm and overflow, because some of y'all operating in overwhelm, and we trying to shift y'all over into overflow and show y'all how to allow the floodgates of heaven. A lot of people know when I prophesy that the winds of wealth will blow, but can I tell you, the winds of wealth are not going to blow until you get the spirit of stagnation from around your atmosphere, right? And so you guys need to make sure that you've registered. We put the link up. Make sure that you stay connected to us. Maya, thank you so much for coming and for just giving us so much wealth of information and just really showing up. Any words you want to leave us with, if it's about you're great at everything, or if it's just about how we need to even just kind of start thinking about ourselves, whether that mindset shift or that transformation that needs to happen. And thank you all that have been watching, that have been interacting, that have been posting our points and stuff up. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all are so amazing. Stay connected with us, especially number 10. Somebody missed number 10, not being effective. I think number 10, number 10 is you have commitment issues. I'm sorry. You have commitment issues was number 10. So
something real quick. I'm sorry. But the two things you just touched on, it was interesting because those are two other mindsets. So when you talked about being able to delegate and really just kind of allow other people to do things and take on tasks for you. So one other mindset is actually, it has the mentality of either we both win or we don't play. So that's one mindset. But then one that goes above that a little bit is we always win. And I think it's important because our working relationship is like that. We always come to the table, and regardless of the situation, regardless of the circumstance, we're always looking to win. We don't care what sacrifice, what compromise, but it's always that mindset of we always win. So how are we going to make this work?
That's good. Listen, and I love about what I've been trying to show in Mic Drop Monday. You guys know that I've had men and women on my platform. I don't mind sharing. I don't mind making sure that people are able to come in and share and expose their talents, their gifts. You're going to see a lot more of this. No man is an island, and I wouldn't dare allow y'all to think that I'm just out here being great and making it happen. I appreciate the people who support me. And guess what? I in turn support them. You better know if Maya needs something, guess what? She's going to get it, because that's what, and I think people need to see what healthy relationships look like, what productivity look like, what it looks like to not compete, but there's community. And so again, we're so excited for you all that have joined. I'm so grateful for you all that follow me. Make sure you guys stay connected. Those of you all that are connected with me on Facebook, make sure that you're following my ministry or business page, the Empowerment Specialist, because I'm going to be doing special lives on that I'm not going to be doing on my personal page. So make sure that you all go and click that follow button. If you're not, if you want to go back and see some of these Mic Drop Mondays, they're on my YouTube channel. You can follow me on LinkedIn for business and entrepreneurship tips and strategies. I'm on Instagram. Again, make sure if you guys are looking for a community, if you have not already joined the community, I know some people have already been a part of some amazing communities, Impact University that I love. Of course, I'm going to be in teaching on that one. But if you have not already and you're looking for a home, I feel like we at church and you need a home. Well, the doors of the church are open. You guys can join our mentorship membership. One of my other, my communications manager is on here as well. And I'm talking about the anointing to cultivate community. Marcia is on. You'll hear from her later. But just she's going to be helping us facilitate community. Even I need community. community. We all need a place where we can go and where we can be developed spiritually, where we can be developed personally in our, there's some personal things that we've dealt with. Some of us have dealt with emotional bullying. Some of us have been dealing with certain things and nobody's really talking about these things. Nobody is really coming to it. And so I just want to tell you a couple of things we're going to be dealing with is confidence. We're going to be dealing with confidence. We're going to be dealing with how to get our sound back. We're going to be dealing with the trauma of toxicity, how to recognize, release, and remove toxicity. We're going to be helping you protect your purpose, the dangers of being out of alignment, the forgiveness factor, a lesson in letting go. Man, we're going to be dealing with it's a jungle out there. How do you recognize the leeches and the snakes and the lizards in your life? We're going to be dealing with how to stop feeling bad when you start dealing good. We're going to be dealing with mad and miserable. How do we deal with anger management? We're going to be dealing with kingdompreneurship. So when I tell you, y'all need to go over and join this community, because when you join the community, guess what? You'll have access to all of those courses. And I'm going to be coming in, teaching and training live. So you are not going to want to miss it. Thank you, Maya, for coming in. You've been amazing. You're always amazing, but I'm so grateful to be able to showcase you to the world. And thank everybody that have been watching. I see from the comments that this has been blessing y'all. So I'm so grateful that you've been here. Listen, you're going to want to stay connected. Next Monday, I believe I'm going to be dealing with the spirit of overwhelm. And y'all know I may do a prophetic pop-up sometime this week. So you better make sure that you're connected. Make sure you went over to my Dr. Elisa LaShell, the Empowerment Specialist page, because I'm feeling a prophetic pop-up sometime this week. And we're really going to come against that spirit of overwhelm, and we're really going to I'm going to show you guys. I like to do what I call prophetic professions and show you guys how to activate to activate things in your atmosphere through your articulation. So stay connected. Love you guys. Thank y'all so very much. We'll see y'all next time.